Hello and welcome to the May edition of Radio Gagan. My name is Clemmie and I'm pleased to be joined by Gagan Mohindra, the MP for South West Hertfordshire. What have you been up to in the past month, Gagan?
Clemmie, thanks for having me. So it's been another busy month. I was lucky enough to have the Prime Minister and his wife in the constituency in Millend Community Centre last Monday as part of the big Help Out initiative. The last two PMQs I've been lucky enough to ask questions of Rishi. First one was on ULEZ, which the London Labour Mayor is looking to introduce, which will doubly impact my constituents, especially those in the south. And the one just before the local elections was about overdevelopment in Three Rivers, more generally.
Sounds very interesting. Next question, what do you think about AI? Do you think it's a threat? Do you think it's going to be a good tool to help us in the future?
Probably both. I think it's going to be a massive industrial revolution. So similar how the steam engine was and the internet more generally, I think this is the next iteration. I think the jobs that people of your age will be doing in 5, 10, 15 years' time don't even exist now. Just by way of background, Clemmie's still at university.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
This was quite a common interview question when I was growing up, and actually the reality is that I don't know. In the 19, 20 years I've been involved in politics, as long as I felt as though I was moving forward, it didn't really matter what I labelled as my dream, because if you'd asked me 5 years ago, would I be an MP? While I would have had maybe aspirations for it at the time, it may not have been realistic. 5 years' time, I think if I'm continuing to do this job as an elected Member of Parliament, I'll be really, really happy.
That's good. What do you think then, looking more in the long term, will be the biggest political change in the next 20 or so years?
One of the frustrations I have as elected representative is voter apathy. While I don't subscribe to the Australia model of forcing people to go to the ballot box, I think politicians of all stripes probably need to be better at encouraging people to actually spend that 20 minutes, half an hour going to the ballot box to vote. Because I'm always a firm believer that I don't need to have the best ideas or solutions, but I do need to be listening to other people that may have. So, Clem, as you're aware, as someone that deals with casework, we get told a lot about people's problems, and one of the challenges we counter with is actually how do you think we should solve it?
So how would you decrease voter apathy? How do you get people to the polls instead of if you weren't going to force them?
Part of it is the optics. When I was growing up, someone of my skin complexion may not have been sitting on the green benches. The fact that we've got ethnic minority Prime Minister and no one bats an eyelid has shown that actually as a country we've moved forward. The fact we've had 3 female Prime Ministers, I do think I'm a firm believer in meritocracy, and actually politics of today is a lot more relevant, more prevalent about what you can actually do rather than what you look or sound like.
Now for some quick fire questions. If you were to host a dinner party, who'd be your dream dinner party guest, dead or alive, from the past, from now?
God, this is a really difficult question. I think just someone that's interesting, because I'm always most happy when I can learn something new about someone. It doesn't matter about age or experience, but just something that's not obvious. So it's someone that can surprise me in a good way.
Interesting. If you were going to be a superhero and you could choose any superpower, what superpower would you choose?
You're using terminology I use a lot in schools. As everyone's aware, I'm dyslexic, and when I have the honour of speaking to school kids, I always say to them, find your superpower, because I think my dyslexia is my superpower. But that does mean that I've got the other side of it is kryptonite. If you give me a 500-page report to read, I won't read it type thing. I think superpower-wise, just being effective. And I know that's a cop-out answer, but when you get to my age, you start thinking about your legacy, how people are going to remember you. Now, while I hope the majority of people think that I'm good, honest, hard-working, in terms of legacy, I want people to think, actually, I was effective.
It's a pretty good one. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received? Could be in politics, could be just generally.
I think something that was said to me in my early 20s, actually. I was lucky enough to meet someone that was very successful, and they said to me, find your passion, you never work a day in your life. And that's where I am at the moment. So the reason why I love my job, although there's a huge amount of responsibility, is that actually every single day is different. I'm able to make a small difference in people's lives, some big ones in one or two cases, and actually it just suits my personality of just quietly getting on with the job.
Did you always know you wanted to go into politics?
No, absolutely not. I was not politically active at school or university. As I said, I think in the last episode of this, I fell into politics in my early to mid-20s. And I describe my career as failing upwards. I've learned more from my failures and things I didn't want to do than things I did. I do politics based on primarily two things. One, that I enjoy doing it, and two, that people want me to do it. The second is validated at the ballot box. My political journey, I've been lucky enough that I've had political mentors at various stages. They've kept on nudging me along and saying, taking on a bit more responsibility. And lo and behold, 19 years later, I'm a member of Parliament.
Here you are, yeah. If you could time travel, would you go to the past or the future, and where would you go?
I'd go to the future. I'm a keen advocate, a keen fan of sci-fi. When I was growing up, there was a program called Tomorrow's World, which spoke about flying cars and bases on the moon and things like that. And I'm an optimist by nature. I'm in politics, but I do think that actually humankind, we are ambitious. So in years to come, whether that's decades or centuries, I do expect us to have bases outside of Earth. Alien life, who knows? But I do think there's more out there than just the shores within the United Kingdom.
If you were offered the opportunity to go to Mars or go to space or go to a base somewhere else, would you go?
I would, subject to my health. Now, I was lucky enough to do a trip to the US to learn about US politics, and I was in Alabama, which has a very, very famous history of rocket travel and missiles. I tried on one of those circular things where astronauts go into about G-force. I was in it very long, and I definitely felt the G-force and felt a bit sick afterwards. So, a man of my age, I may have missed the boat on a long-term career in space. But could be, maybe one day do a tourist trip up to space and back down again. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Thank you very much for your time, Gagan. That's been the May edition of Radio Gagan. Thank you for listening. Much.